an on-location edition of the Kemetic How-To Guide for Egyptian pagan and Kemetic practitioners. I'm your host Sharon, here with my lovely husband Darren in Plano, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas.
And it's kind of Plano.
Yes, well, we're getting ready for the total solar eclipse. You might notice it's a little cloudy out here, but we're getting kind of breaks in the clouds, so we're going to document this as best we can for you. You'll also get a taste of some essential Texas elements like spring storms, because that's common for this time of year. Unpredictable weather is part of life here in the southern United States, and as people often say, if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes, it'll change. So we're a couple of hours out from the beginning of the eclipse, so hopefully it'll clear out and we'll be able to see some interesting things. In the meantime, of course, a lot of people ask about, well, you know, how were eclipses viewed in different cultures. There's a Navajo gentleman that started his channel with the previous total eclipse in North America, talking about Navajo beliefs surrounding eclipses. Well, here we can talk about ancient Egyptian beliefs, and mostly with eclipses that has to do with something attacking the eye. With lunar eclipses, it would have been, you know, attacking the lunar eye and Horus. But here, a solar eclipse would be a physical manifestation of the battle between Ra and the evil serpent. And it's sort of like Voldemort, you know, we prefer not to say the name. Although, and I found out this was actually true, NASA has launched, or is going to launch during the eclipse, 3 sounding rockets. And the acronym they came up with them is Atmospheric Projectiles Exploring Perturbation, or APEP, which is very similar to the Egyptian form of the name for the serpent. And so if you're familiar with your Egyptian mythology, you read that and you're like, but to give you a little more backstory on this, the evil serpent, as we understand him now, first is identified by name in the coffin texts. And I happen to bring with me this big, thick translation of the coffin text by Raymond O'Fallon. And what's interesting is these texts, you know, they're short little entries, but they point to a lot of things that would have been common knowledge for the Egyptians. And there's basically different references that suggest a story of some titanic battle that would have taken place between Ra and his supporters and the evil serpent, and perhaps supporters of his. And this is from spell 154. Knowing the lords of you knew, which is Heliopolis. Knowing the souls of Heliopolis. Knowing what Jehuti knows of protective spells. Knowing every temple. Having power in the realm of the dead and entering into the souls of Yunu. And it says, it so happened that Ra disputed with the Emu Hemeth serpent. That's he who is in his burning or his consumption, concerning the division of Yunu. And his mouth was injured, and that is how the reduction in the monthly festival came about. So in other words, Ra actually took on an injury during this battle. And so there's something in the festival cycle that refers to this. And in the Book of the Dead, there's mention to the hushing of the mouth, you know, at a certain point in time, which is a reference to this as well. And it says, then said Hemeth, I will take my harpoon and I will inherit this city. And that is how the harpoon came into being. Then said Ra, I will erect my flagstaffs against him, and I will oust him. And that is how the Sanut festival came about. What that's referring to is the poles with the ribbons, the streamers on them that you would see in front of temples, those are meant to ward off evil. And so it's kind of like the horse of Kemetic, which is put over the doorway. Those are things that are meant to ward off the children of rebellion and, you know, the confederates of evil. And in this case, it has to do with a cycle of myths that are hinted at in the coffin text in the Book of the Dead between Ra and the evil serpent. And it's also believed that just as he has to face the serpent in the underworld at the bottom of the night, so also at the top of the day at noontime. Because for the Egyptians, and this is in another book, which when we're not on location I can show you, but it was explained that high noon is when, in their perception, it's like the sun seemed to be standing still for a minute. And that was when it was thought that the sunbark encountered a sandbank and had to, you know, it was a point of danger when they had to face, you know, a negative spirit that would try to attack the sunboat. And so that's probably what they would have in mind when an event like this would have happened. The fun thing is, if I talk to some folks that are knowledgeable in astronomy, I have a cousin who's a Hubble Fellow who teaches at the University of Edinburgh, and if he's a little hard to get a hold of, but he might know some folks that could run some calculations and say when there might have been eclipses that would have crossed over Egypt in ancient times, because they can figure that out. We know that here in North Texas there will not be another total eclipse for another 300 years.
So, you know,
this is our one shot.
Get your reservations real early.
Well, the thing is, in 300 years, I don't know if Texas is going to look like Star Wars or Mad Max. You know, your guess is as good as mine.
It'll look like Mad Max.
Hopefully not as fun.
It's Texas.
Yeah. But we are going to see what we can see. Yeah, the lights are starting to come on. You know, it's getting darker and darker. And we've got the clouds passing through.
Hang on,
But,
it's about to clear.
yeah, it's almost like a moonlit night.
And the clouds cover it up a little bit again.
Look at how dark everything is now.
Suck it!
Yeah. Well, look, I'm just looking at the horizon around us. It looks like dusk, and it's, you know,
Oh, it's coming back out! It's coming back out! I saw it for a second. Nothing but a ring. This is like 7:30 in the evening dark right now.
It's getting lighter. It's getting lighter. Yeah. Yeah, it's getting steadily lighter. Check this out.
And the wind is picking back up. Yep.
So there you have it. That was our eclipse experience. And then we get home through torrential rain because those storms they were predicting did catch up with us. Well, a couple of days later, I hear from friends of ours, my chiropractor, Morgan. They all managed to go to different spots and see perfect viewing for the eclipse. And they all had pictures and they were talking about how cool it was. And I'm like, you suck. Love you. I guess I'll just have to play My Heart Bleeds. But they say there will be another one in 2045. In the meantime, I did mention a book that I'm reading right now. Egyptian Solar Religion in the New Kingdom. Ra, Amen, and the Crisis of Polytheism by Jan Assmann, who unfortunately passed away not too long ago, but he was in his 90s, I believe, so, you know, pity we can't live forever, right? But he left us this wonderful book. It's not an easy read. I'm working on it, trying to read it in between working on animation, and there are some videos I'm going to do later this year that this will kind of be the backdrop for, but if you're so inclined, like I said, it's a great book, but he talks a lot about analyzing texts and the grammar that's used in it and things like that, so it's not introductory level material, let's put it that way. And I mentioned future videos. When I do my video for next month, I'll be able to share with you the animation because it's almost finished. I'll talk more about how it's going in my Patreon exclusive video. And of course you can see that by becoming one of our top Patreon peeps. A special shout out to all of my Patreon peeps at whatever level you're at. I'm going to try and make videos as we go along for everybody. And of course, you know, there are some awesome folks that have given us some super stickers. And we've got lots of good things coming up. And cloud cover won't be an issue with them either, so yay! Oh, one more thing. For my viewers who are visually impaired, the video at the first part of this installment, because the audio was less than ideal, we had wind going, and I wasn't able to use my lapel mic, so instead I put subtitles on it. And I will try to put those subtitles in the description so that you can use your screen reader in order to catch it. And so if you couldn't understand what we were saying at the beginning, you'll have the screen reader be able to tell you what the subtitles were. So I'm working on finding ways to make my videos accessible for everybody as best I can. And if I know that I've had people request subtitles so that they could do subtitles in other languages, and give me more input if there's something that you need. If you're in another part of the world and you need something specific, just give me some feedback and I will do everything that I can to help make it easier for you to appreciate what we do here. That's what it's all about. So hopefully this has given you a little bit of an insight into going to see celestial phenomenon, how it can tie into Egyptian mythology and things like that. So for the Kemetic How-To Guide, this is Sharon, wishing you Sanepti.
Enjoyed this video? Then be sure to hit like and subscribe to the Kemetic Independent channel. You can also buy my books on Lulu.com, and special thanks to all my Patreon supporters. Join us for updates, outtakes, and exclusive videos only on Patreon. Check the description for links.
Cannot believe what I'm seeing!